The views and opinions on the Craig L. Hayes Show do not necessarily reflect those of Westgate Resorts, ownership, or management. And now, on with the show. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
And welcome back, everybody. It's the Craig L. Hayes Show. We're here discussing showbiz with my brother Scott, who's been in the business for almost as long as I've been in this business. Yeehaw. And we've gone through some of his life, and we're over at the Excalibur. What year about was that? 94, 5-ish?
When did they open? Yeah, 90 is when they opened. Yeah, so it's been early, like 91, 89, 90, somewhere in there. So I go to work over there part-time. I finally go full-time over there. Worked there for a couple years, and then they put together the crew to go next door to the new Luxor. And I was on the crew. Matter of fact, I showed up to work at the Excalibur, and I didn't know it, but that was my last day because I'm working for Ben Carlson, and he had already told everybody that Hayes ain't going to be here anymore. We got things to do. So we go to his.
It's nice of him to turn in your notice, huh?
So there was a couple of us, myself, Jen Stone, who was my partner at the Excalibur. We went together to the Luxor, all that. But we went over to Ben Carlson's house in his backyard, and we built a lot of the scenery that was going over to the Luxor. So we built all the scenery, and then we went into the Luxor. Like in end of July, 1st of August of '93, and then we built the showroom. We were the first hotel employees of actual getting a paycheck. Stagehands were the first ones in the building. The top of the building hadn't even been put on yet. There was no carpet. There was nothing.
Oh,
in the
really?
building.
So you guys were.
We were in there before anybody. The job superintendents would get mad at us because we were doing whatever we wanted because we didn't fall under them. We were Luxor employees. We were not construction workers. So when we would be doing stuff that they didn't like, it was too bad. Go away, just go away. and we would do stuff we shouldn't have been doing. But yeah, we built the show. Put the show in there, and I worked with some of the best people in the business. Jeff Clark, Scott Fowler. The crew they put together in there was just an amazing crew. We put the show in, and we built the scenery, and Ben was smart. Ben was already thinking ahead. All the scenery that he built. We had a waterfall that would extend out throughout the arena, throughout the stage. It had pumps, and it had to have the water recirculate. It had all this type of stuff, but he had Jennifer and I learn as we're building this. We knew how to maintain it. So if something happened, we knew exactly where the problem was right off the bat because we built it. So he was thinking of that kind of stuff. That's why he brought us on, like he did, because we went straight to work and were able to solve problems because we put it in. We knew what was going on. So, but again, worked with people that we grew up with. Lance Michel was working there. He's one of the Michel boys. And so, we're working with people that are generational. We're working with the people that our dad would have worked with, or we're working with the sons of the people that our dad or grandpa even, because Wally Ogle's son, Steve was there. We just had generational people working and, just running the show, so.
And that's the show that you decided you were going to try to stop a horse from running out on stage. Yeah.
Okay, so to put all the rumors to side, I did not do it on purpose. So I always tell people, I say, you ever seen the movie Ben-Hur, where the chariot guy, he falls off the chariot or whatever, and then the horses run him over, and he goes, yeah, and I go, well, I did that in real life. Mm-hmm. I got ran over by a team of chariots, or a team of horses pulling a chariot.
Yeah. Yeah,
on opening night. That was opening night. I think it was second show.
Yeah, and your
second show.
Your wife was out of town, and so Mike Hartzell and them called me at the Riviera. I'm out running sound, and I get this call saying you need to get over to Valley or UMC, whatever one it was.
I don't remember.
Because your brother got run over by a horse, and you need to get over there as soon as you can. I said, okay, when the show is over, I'll head on over. No, you need to get over here sooner. I said, the show's going. When am I going to walk out on the show for my brother? Are you out of your mind?
Yeah, I was the first guest or employee to be taken off property in an ambulance. I had that title of guest or employee to be removed by an ambulance.
You're
Cool.
number one.
Yeah,
You're
I was the first
number one.
Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I don't know if that's what you want to be known for, but
Yeah.
wow.
And then I walked out of the hospital, and my bosses all wanted to kill me because they thought I was dead.
Yeah.
And then the rumors started flying that I fell down an elevator shaft. And I was like, man, there's no elevator shaft in the basement of the Luxor.
Yeah, where's it going to fall into?
I'm not
The
sure where we'd have
core
fallen
of the
into.
earth or something? Or?
Yeah, there's no basement.
Oh, well, good rumors, guys. Yeah. Oh, jeez. No, and I remember that. You did have them worried though. I walked in that emergency room, and Ben and
They thought I was dead.
was it Coleman? Jeff Coleman was
Coleman,
there,
That's right.
and Mike Hartzell there, and they were like, he's dead. They were sure.
And
So I walked
out.
back there, and they said, "Oh, he has a collapsed lung." I was like, "Well, reinflate it and get him out of here." Jeez, and
Put
you
a
came,
hose down his throat and reinflate it.
yeah, and then you came spent the night with me and on the couch, and because no one was around to take care of you, and so I put you on the couch because I wasn't going to take care of you. Jeez,
Why? Why?
throw a little dirt on it and get back out in the game. Come on. No, that was really a bizarre time there. So, what was your transition? So you went from the showroom, and then you went.
So we did the shows in the showroom for a while. We did the Winds of the Gods. We had an ice show in there. We had Wayne Newton.
Okay.
Worked with Wayne Newton quite a bit. Super nice. Oh, I loved working with him. He was
He's a nice guy.
He was cool. His team was cool.
Bear.
Yeah,
all of them. Yeah.
everybody was just, they were such a good group to work with. And oh man, I remember him just being a big man. Just Wayne Newton was just this big dude. I remember him just being a big dude.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, and then the hotel decided, hey, we're going to build a convention area. And they, again, I was at the right place at the right time. I had I was just in the right place at the right time with the right people around me. And they said, okay, you're going to run the AV over in the convention area. So
Who was your TD that put you in charge of that at that time?
the TD,
Is that
I
Ron?
don't think.
That wasn't Ron.
No, it was Bill Stanton. Bill Stanton
Bill,
at this time was taking care of both the Excalibur and the Luxor. And he said, throw Hayes in there. So I went over to the this new convention area and helped build the convention area and opened it up and ran the convention area until, Ron Stone showed up. I don't remember what year it was, but he showed up. And of course, he knew me more than I knew him. I didn't really know him all that well.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked for him for years, learned a ton of stuff. And then I don't know, it was like 06 or 05, 06. He got recalled back into the Army. And he had me, he'd said, put Hayes in as the TD. So that's when I became the TD, was in 05 or 06, somewhere in there. And because it was only supposed to be an interim because he was going to be back. And then he decided, nope, want to play Army instead. So he retired from the showbiz and played Army and left me in the hot seat.
And you were stuck then.
And I was stuck at that point.
Mm.
So, and I was the TD there until April of 19. So for, 14 years or whatever, somewhere in that area, I was TD.
Yeah. That is a ungrateful job.
100%
basically.
ungrateful.
Yeah. You're basically the middle person between the people above you who are, a lot of them are idiots, don't understand the business or whatever like that, and think that, they can just tell you to, it's going to be slow in the hotel next week, so lay off half the guys.
I actually had a boss of mine tell me that. He goes, hey, we're slow right now. We're only having like 60% occupancy in the shows, or whatever the number was. He goes, so you need to lay off a couple guys. I'm like, you want me to lay off a couple guys in the show? These are production shows. You want me to lay off a couple guys in the production shows because we don't have a full house? And he goes, yeah. And I go, okay, you might want to talk to the producer and let them know they've got to redo the show and let them know what you want done. I go, I'm not saying we can't do that. We sure in the heck can do it. I said, but we're going to have to revamp their show because I'm going to have fewer guys working. I go, whether there's one guy in the audience or 1,000 people in the audience, it's the same show. Nothing changes. The audience doesn't mean a thing to the crew.
No.
Whether it's one guy or 1,000 people or maybe 10,000 or 20,000, whatever the number of the room is, it's the same amount of people to run the show. And man, there was, I will say it was a heated conversation there for a little bit. And it's like, it doesn't matter to me. What, you know, it's like, we can do this. I'm telling you, I will cut guys from the crew, but we have to change the show.
Mm-hmm.
I go, we can't just arbitrarily cut guys because things in the show won't happen the way they are now. And, you know, they didn't.
No, they don't understand it.
Understand it. And then I had a boss go backstage and again, production show. And it was a one-man stage. It was one carpenter on stage. That's all that was on this stage. Backstage is one carpenter. And my boss saw him just sitting there in his chair. He had a chair. He's sitting there during the show. And he's watching him. And I could tell he's watching him. I'm thinking, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. It's going to come. Here it comes. And sure enough, after the show was over, he goes, he sat in that chair for 15 minutes and he'd get up and do something and come back and sit down. I was like, right. But he got up and did something. He goes, well, have him doing something else. I go, he's doing something else. He's sitting there ready to do his job. I go, he's there to make sure there's no problems on stage. That's his job. I go, if I take him away to have him do something, which I don't even know why I'd have him do during the show, and something happens, now we don't have a show. So what do you want me to do here? You know? And then same individual told me one time hey, we got some VIPs coming in to see this particular performer. We need to make sure we have a good show. And I told him, I said, I only have one show. There's only one show. We only do one show. There's not an A show and a B show. There's a show. That's all there is. He goes, well, we can't have any problems. I go, our crews don't want problems. Our crews do everything to avoid a problem. Our crews do one show. We have one show to give, and that's the only show we do. I go, that person that's coming into our showroom is going to get the same show that the person from Iowa is paying to get. There isn't a second show to give. There is only one show. And we had another argument about that I wasn't taking my job seriously or something like that. I'm like, no, if we don't have problems, that's what we're here for, is no problems.
I find that whenever I was told that on any situation, I find that to be insulting.
It took me a long time to realize that it's not because, yes, they don't understand show business. Okay, fine. I don't understand how to do brain surgery. But at the same time, if they would listen to what they're saying, I think a lot of times they wouldn't even say what they're saying, just because they've all seen those shows, you know, many times in the room, and they see the same show over and over and over and over and over. So there's only one show in that room.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah. So when I wasn't TD anymore, I actually realized what a grateful thing it was to not be TD. so, and then be just a stagehand again. So.
Yeah, because I always found that when they'd say that, hey, we got a celebrity in there and we have ownership in the place, and so really make sure you do a really good job. And I was like, I only do one job. That's all. I only know how to do the show one way.
Yeah.
And that's as perfect as I can make it every single time.
That's our
I don't know what you're saying. Is there a level above perfect, like extra perfect or double perfect, or what are we saying here? That's why they'd make me annoyed. I'd just stare at them sometimes, and when they'd say it, I'd just stare at them, and I'd give them that blank stare, and they'd go, "Oh, I think I just said something stupid." I went, "You think?" Yeah.
We one time had a showroom that had multiple shows in there, and for the first show, it was a comedian, and during his show, up above in the hotel, a water line broke or something happened, and it basically flooded the showroom on stage. Mm-hmm. the comedian was able to do was finish his show, but it was water everywhere. There was water everywhere on that stage. And the next show had dancing girls on it. And I get up on the stage, and I'm with the line captain, wonderful, wonderful girl. Oh, I just loved working with her. And she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her. And she goes, "What are we going to do?" And I'm like, "I'm going to be canceling the show here in about 5 minutes." I go, "Because we can't do this." She goes, "No, we can't." I'm like, I know we can't. But give me a few minutes. I'm going to cancel. Tell the girls to go home, whatever. So I go tell the box office, "Hey, no show." And they're all looking at me like, "You're going to cancel it?" And I'm like, "It's already canceled." I go, "You now have to do your job. You have to get back the money. The show isn't happening. The girls are already going home. Show's over. There is no show. It's canceled."
You can't dance on a wet stage, people.
And they said, do you have the authority to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know if I have the authority to do it, but I did it anyways. The show is canceled. I don't know how else to say it." So they get hold of all the upper management, and they of course, I was expecting it. The phone rings. "What do you mean you canceled the show?" And I remember standing on stage, and I'm standing there, and I'm trying to say something without getting in trouble. And I'm like, I said the individual's name, and I said, "I don't know how else to answer your question other than to say I canceled the show. You're asking me if I canceled it. Yes, I canceled the show." And he went off. He was mad. And I'm like, "I don't know how the girls are supposed to dance with the show that's soaking wet, and we still have water falling on the stage. It's still raining on stage." "Yeah, but what gave you the right to cancel the show?" he says. And I'm like, I don't know how to answer your question other than it wasn't really a decision to be made. The decision had been made for us. It was raining on stage. So I canceled the show. And to this day, I remember thinking, I don't know what you don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer this question. You have a flat tire. Okay, but it doesn't have any air in it. Yes, you're right. It's a flat tire. It has no air. But why is there no air in it?
Because it's flat.
It's flat. I remember having this round and round conversation. And I remember one of the stagehands was on stage standing next to me, and she's just looking at me while I'm on the phone, and she's just shaking her head like, "Is this a vaudeville skit?"
Yeah. Is this Laurel and Hardy
Is this
trying
Laurel
to
and
know
Hardy?
who's
Like,
on
what-
first or
And
what?
I hang up the phone, and she just looks at me, and she just shakes her head. She goes, "That did not just happen." I was like, "No, it did." And I go, "I'll find out tomorrow what's going." Went into a meeting the next day, and they're like, "You can't just cancel a show." And I'm like, if we can't have a show, and it's like, I didn't have to have permission to cancel the show. The show was already canceled. It was raining on stage. I don't know how to. I didn't have to make a decision. It was already made.
Yeah. The sprinklers or whatever made the decision for us, and so what you guys what you're wanting from me is this: you wanting me to say, "I think we might have to cancel the show. Can you come down and take a look at it, then get together and have a
Maybe.
group of you guys talk about it for the next 15 to 20 minutes, and then try to decide whether you're going to do it, then talk about it again for another 15 or 20 minutes, and then come to an ultimate decision where one of you actually has the balls to stand up and say, 'I think we have to cancel the show.'" Now that's 45 minutes basically of you guys going into a circle jerk on this thing. And the customers are still wondering if they can come and see a show that's obviously not going to be on.
Yeah. Yep. The fun stuff of.
Yeah. You just got to scratch your head sometimes and just, well, whatever.
Yep.
So anyways, so now you finally get out of that. You get to, what were some of the shows? Let's talk about a couple of the shows,
The production shows or the.
just some of the shows you like
headliners.
doing there. Like you started doing headliners and stuff, and
So when we started doing headliners at the Luxor, Luxor ended up being a great room. After we got rid of the production show that we had in there when we first opened up the main showroom. I don't remember the name of the show. And when we started going into into headliners, that's when I became the TD. and I had a great guy running. He was the stage manager. I wish I could remember his name, Bud. I remember his first name was Bud, and he was the stage manager. And he did a great job. He was amazing at it. But we had the Go-Go's, we had Earth, Wind, and Fire. We just had, it was a plethora of 80s. Pat Benatar, we had beautiful person to work with, Pat Benatar.
Oh yeah, she's nice.
She was unbelievably wonderful person.
How does that much voice come out of something that's like
so tiny?
tiny?
I could not believe, and of course, I'm an MTV kid.
Yep.
Grew up watching MTV, and all of a sudden, I'm working with all these MTV people, and I was getting a kick out of it. And we had the Go-Go's one weekend, and I'm thinking this is going to be so much fun. I remember getting the sheet saying who was booked. And James Trudeau was he was the corporate entertainment guy, and he was great at booking us acts. And we had Styx, we had Foreigner. Man, we just rocked out in that place. But we had the Go-Go's were booked. And I remember thinking, all right, this is gonna be fun. Have the Go-Go's. What teenage boy didn't love one of the girls in the Go-Go's? And all of a sudden, I'm gonna have them on my stage.
Yep.
Day comes, they show up. I get a phone call from the stage manager, and he says, "Hey, the girls are here." I'm like, "All right, on my way down." And I'm just walking on this, I'm walking down, no big deal. Get to meet the Go-Go's, pretty cool. Now, like you and I both, we grew up around stars. Stars aren't that big a deal.
No.
They're just people. We all know they're just people. I mean, when you hang out with, Dean Martin or
Sammy or any of them.
whatever,
Yeah.
that whole group of people, okay, they're just people. And as I'm walking towards the stage, I see the girls, and all of a sudden in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the frickin' Go-Go's. And I remember walking down through the house, going to go up onto the stage, and I'm telling myself, be cool, dude. Be cool, because I was losing it in my head. I'm standing on stage with the Go-Go's, and I'm be cool, dude. Be cool. And it's like I'm introducing, like, great to have you here, and meeting each of the girls, and they were wonderful. They were just
They were nice.
oh my
They were
gosh,
all
they're
very
great.
nice.
They're just all was it 4 of them, 5?
There's 5.
5. Just each one of them was super sweet, super nice, non-pretentious, just great people. I mean, really, they were. And I met them, checked on everything good, yeah, blah 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 blah. I turn around and walk away, and in my head, I'm just like screaming, "I just met the Go-Go's! Cannot believe I just met the Go-Go's! I was on stage with the Go-Go's."
Yeah.
And I don't remember thinking that with pretty much anybody else except for the Go-Go's. Maybe nobody else comes to mind right now that I lost it. But I lost it, being on stage with the Go-Go's. That was. But we ran a great gambit of Earth, Wind, and Fire always did a great job. Foreigner, Styx, they rocked that place. That place just kicked it every time they came in. They were doing, I don't know, one weekend a month there for a while or something like that. And they come back in. They loved being there. They thought it was. They actually did an interview in one of the industry magazines that said how much they enjoyed being at the Styx, how much they enjoyed working at the Luxor and all the rest of that. And then we stopped doing stars, and we put a production show in there. And I always complained about it. It's like we should have kept the headliners. The headliners were just filling that room every night. But.
Makes you wonder sometimes what people are thinking. Let's see, we're really successful. We're having all these acts come in here. The place is filled. Let's go do something different.
So the way I remember sitting in a meeting, we were talking about it, and I said, when we do a production show, if the people like the show, okay, great, they like the show. You might get them back someday. They might come back to see it, maybe. You take that same guest who just saw the Go-Go's, and they had a wonderful time. They loved the Go-Go's. What do you mean, in 2 weeks is Earth, Wind, and Fire? Let's go back and watch Earth, Wind, and Fire. Now, the same person is coming back again to see another. So you're capturing that guest without even doing anything. You You're not having to do anything to bring that person in because they're coming back because you're giving them something. And then in a few weeks, a month, a couple months, 2-3 months, whatever it is, maybe down the road, somebody else comes on stage. Styx is on stage. Oh, we got to go see Styx.
Yep.
Now you got him a third time. You didn't do anything. They just walked in the door.
You changed the name on the marquee, and they keep coming back because you changed the name on the marquee.
And I don't, I don't know. Production shows have their place. Absolutely 100%. You have to have production shows because production shows are, but headliners, if you get the right people, they fill up the house, they're.
And then you can have residencies with some of these guys. They're there quite a bit during the year, and they usually change their show so much throughout the year. You can come back and see them again and again because they keep changing their shows.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't get too. Yeah, you can have the same name on the marquee, but you see them, then come back in a few months, and it's a different show because they've changed a bunch of the numbers out, and they've done, so you get to see a little bit of variety there. So no, I like the headliners. We've worked production shows. I like production shows a little bit, but they get monotonous.
I always have said I like putting a production show in. I love being on the crew that loads the show in. You get the show up and running, and about a month after the show is open, I'm gone. That's it. I don't want to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When we, other than I used to love doing the stuff in the lounges, doing lounge shows, because I was at the right place at the right time. I would do carpenter and I would do sound in the lounges. So you always had to pay attention. You always had to. It wasn't just monotonous. It was like you had to pay attention to what you were doing.
Yeah. No, I get that side of it too. So eventually, like everything comes to an end. You leave the management side, then you go do some other things, and you're not really. I mean, you did some sign stuff. You work here still once in a while.
Yeah.
You help out whenever they need an extra people. Show business still in the blood in some ways, but now you're working for a company that does. What exactly is it that you do on that company? Because you work for a gaming company, but you're not really.
Yeah. So I work for a company that when you go into a restaurant or into a hotel or whatever, and you see a chandelier or you see a sign that says bathroom or you see tables and chairs or you see decor around the room, the company I work for makes that stuff. They also do a lot of stuff for the slot machines. They design, they build the stuff that you see around a slot machine or a gaming machine. They're very innovative as far as you'll see one of these big displays in a casino around one of the machines, and they've designed that. They built that, that shows everybody in that casino that, hey, somebody over there has hit, $10,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they do that, but I do a lot of stuff for the company that owns our company. I do a lot of the stuff for their hotels that they own here out in the West. If they have a construction project or something going on, I'm kind of in that realm to make sure that whatever we're supplying to them, they're getting, or we send crews out to do maintenance to their facilities. I'm kind of involved in that stuff. So I kind of take care of the gaming side of our company, and on the other side is the environmental stuff that they build for casinos or hotels or restaurants or whatever. So and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like you like it. I know you're traveling all the time, all over the country, doing stuff with them.
I do travel quite a bit. I enjoy it.
Do you ever get the itch to get back into show business here and there a little bit more?
I do work here from time to time. Work with Barry, and I love get you back into the feel of being on stage. Taking care of whatever your cues are, and
there's just something about showbiz. It gets in your blood.
It gets in
it's
your
hard
blood
to
and
get
sits
out.
there, and
Yeah. Well, that's very cool. Well, who knows? Who knows what the future lies?
yeah.
Let me build another whole big place in town and want you to go run it.
I don't know about that.
Nah, I would not go into management ever again. I want nothing to do with management on stuff. But well, anyway, anything else you want to say as far as what your time in show business has been?
You know, probably like any other job, when you look at it from the job side, it's, you know, you have your good times and your bad times. But overall, the job of entertainment, I think people in the business understand it. But the lifestyle, it's a lifestyle. Working backstage is a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Not good, not bad. It's just a different lifestyle.
Is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yep.
We work in the dark. You have to know multiple jobs. Even if you're just doing one particular job, you have to know what's going on around you all the time. So if there's a problem, you know where to run.
Yep.
You know how to help somebody who's saying, oh my gosh, this just happened. You know how to jump in and say, okay, I'll take care of it. You know, I'm on my way.
Yep.
But again, like we said earlier, doing a show, let's say like Barry, at the end of the night, you know, at the beginning of the night, you say, okay, ready, roll it. And everything starts kicking. The music starts kicking. And then the show goes on, you know, hour, 20 minutes, whatever it is later. Okay, and the last song plays, boom, 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 done. Curtain drops down. You know, we clean up the mess and we go home. The best show is when there's no issue. You know, you've done everything. I remember when my first wife, after I'd gone stagehanding, I'd come home from work from the DI. How was your shows? Shows were fine. The next night, how was your shows? Fine. How was your shows? Fine. How was your shows? Fine. One day she got mad. Said, you know, that's all you ever say is fine. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I go, I stand here at 7 o'clock, then I stand over here at 7:10, then I walk over here at 7:12, and then at 9:30, 10 o'clock, I do the same thing. I do the same, and I go, and as long as everything works, it's just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you ever talk to anybody? Not really, because we're doing our jobs. We're just doing our jobs. We don't really do
if you're
anything.
talking to somebody, you're not paying attention to what's going on. So,
and I had to explain it to her. I was like, the best night is when nothing happens. If I ever come home and tell you, oh my gosh, you know, we had this happen and we had to fix this and this fell apart, and then you know, that means there's something went on. I go, if I come home and I say fine, it's Groundhog's Day.
yeah,
Probably the best way to say it. If everything goes right, it's Groundhogs.
Let's do it again.
And you want a Groundhog Day on stage.
Yep, every day.
Every day you want Groundhog.
Yep.
And if all of a sudden, for some reason, you don't get a Groundhog, now you got a whole other interesting aspect. You know, why did it break? Why did that not start? How come, you know, the video didn't start? How come, whatever. So, no, it's a good days and bad days, just like any job in the world. Anybody in the world has good days and bad days. I think entertainment has a little bit of a different thing because you're working with a celebrity, and you got a room full of people expecting you to do your job right.
Yep.
And they don't even know they're expecting you to do your job right. They know they're just there to see this performance, whoever it is.
Yeah.
And they're
And making
expecting
sure
to have
once
a
they
good
go,
time.
when wanting to walk out thinking they had a blast for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever it is.
That's what I do when I go see a movie. I want to have a good time.
And that's all it is.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the business we've been in. It's in our blood. I don't know how to get it out of our blood, but it's there forever. Anyway, Scott, thanks for coming in on this.
All righty.
Glad to have you here. And see, I'm not the only weird one in the world that's done this since I was a little kid. See, there's others of us.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that have done this since we were a kid and really didn't know that the world wasn't really like that. There was actually different parts of the world out there. But anyways, that's going to be the end of this episode and this interview, and maybe one day we'll get together and come up with some more things. But for now, I think that's a good day's work on this thing, and I want to thank everybody for listening, and more to come. Talbot, take it.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.